here, right? Is everybody
Yeah,
feel like everybody's asleep?
I think I got everybody's attention. So real quick, guys, I just tagged this in multiple chats, but we are looking to implement a very comprehensive long-term section with a lot of information, a lot of education, a lot of trade strategy into the Discord. And I tagged it in multiple chats. If you guys could uh, respond in the chats to provide your feedback, your ideas, questions, things that you'd like to see implemented, I would greatly appreciate it. That would really help us in making sure that we can take care of you guys comprehensively and make sure all the information you're looking for is provided and more. So if you guys could respond to all that, I would really appreciate it. That would help us tremendously. So this is a big project that we're working on. I appreciate it very much.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Clayton. Guys, definitely check that out. We're looking to expand OBR, give you guys more value, and do a bunch of new things with like the long-term idea. But nonetheless, we can get into our market recap. And I do see our special guest is here. Hi, James. What's going on? James Bruce. Got your
What's
mic
up?
working. Just make sure we're all good to go. What's up, dude? Yeah, welcome to the market recap. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And before we get into any kind of discussion, I'm just going to quickly kind of run over the performance we had today on the market. If anybody's new here, this is kind of what we do every day at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I usually host these, but sometimes we'll have all the other analysts hop on and kind of do their thing and host it. But I guess I'm the guy. So let's refresh the page to make sure we are getting updated information, because sometimes FinViz will fool with me there. But yeah, I mean, without a doubt, it was a very green day. We see the majority of the market is lit up like a Christmas tree. And if you're not colorblind, I'm sorry if you are, but hopefully you're not. You can see that it's green, right? There are some sections that are red and underperformed, mainly being entertainment. I guess like some equities over in medical care facilities didn't do okay. We see Facebook's actually getting hit pretty hard. I guess home improvement kind of struggled. But most of the market, for the most part, with some exceptions, performed very well today. Always good to see Apple up to almost 3.5%, Google 4%. What is Tesla up 11.5%? Wow. So yeah, Tesla had quite the day. Semiconductors did well. Financials did well. Across the board, we've been doing well. I do want to bring our attention quickly over here to the 1 month. We can still see, the past month has still been quite the bloodbath. So seeing, some stuff start to flip green here in the short term, I think could be good for the market. But without a doubt, guys, I mean, if we look at the weekly performance, we are still very much in a quite an aggressive downtrend. So just be aware of that and understand, the green that we see now might be temporary, might not be. That's why we have the charts. We have other people to talk about, to see their opinions, and we can forecast and speculate all about where the market could be moving. But before we speculate or even do anything, I just want to take a look at the price action that we saw already that happened today. So from our close last week, we did have the long weekend. We did open up roughly 1.6%, and then all the way to the high of day, which now currently sits at almost 3%, 2.93%. So the market did have a very solid bounce. That's why we saw this big, green wave show up. The S&P 500 was doing exceptionally well. If you guys are unaware, right now we are looking at the S&P 500 ETF. So this is SPY. This is not the index, which is SPX. But yeah, we opened up, and now we kind of like formed this this consolidation pattern, which is kind of turning into like this triangle, and we did break out, and it seems like right now we are coming back down to retest. So maybe we could see the price action come back down a little bit lower from here, but ultimately things look fairly optimistic going into the last half hour of the day. So, not a bad day. I think there was some moves to capitalize on. Here at open, this move to the upside was quite large. We had a nice move to the downside, and, it was quite directional if you were able to understand what kind of pattern we were in. It did get a little choppy here, but then we saw a nice breakout. We're coming back down, and I honestly think this could provide a good long opportunity. We'll have to wait and see. But I'd love to hear from some other analysts. Ooh,
Before we actually go into
ahead.
this, I would love to hear James' perspective. But before James gives his perspective, I'd like to just give a quick rundown of who James is, because a lot of people in this chat probably aren't familiar with James. So James is an active day trader, as you guys could probably guess. He started trading back in 2018 and found success right around 2020 when he actually joined my brother's trading group, ASFX. So since then, James, without going into too much detail, has been able to perform exceptionally well. And I'm not just saying that because he's a good friend of mine, but he really has. He can go into his numbers if he wants to, but that's, his choice. Over the last couple of years, he's done incredibly well, consistently, most importantly. And now he is a coach and coaches many traders in the ASFX group. to become consistently profitable and funded traders, meaning with a prop firm. So James has a lot of experience trading and a lot of experience coaching traders. So I, for one, am very, very glad to have him here. James, if you have anything to say about yourself or anything about the market, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Austin, for having me, bro. I really do appreciate the kind words. So yeah, as not Austin, Logan, as Logan mentioned, I am actively trading. So I got into trading mostly forex, but I am getting into the indexes in the last couple of months. But yeah,
Awesome. Well, what do you think about the market? Because you said you were keeping an eye on QQQ today, or Nasdaq rather. For you,
yeah.
so what did you think about today?
Sure. So obviously we have been in quite a heavy downtrend. So I use mostly exponential moving averages as well as a indicator known as the TDI indicator. So that's the Traders Dynamic Index. So it's made up of a market sentiment line, which is a moving average, lagging moving average, and as well as the EMA. So I use specifically the 8 EMA, the 21 EMA, as well as the 50 EMA as my directional bias. So I'm mostly trading off the 50-minute time frame. But obviously on the Nasdaq, we have been in a pretty big downtrend in the last couple of weeks. What I am seeing on the daily time frame, though, is that we are building some 50-minute bullish divergence at the daily 800 EMA, which obviously it has bounced from that previously. So maybe we do get a short-term pullback, but on the 50-minute time frame on the Nasdaq, specifically on the index, we are coming up to the 50-minute 800 EMA, which is known as full reset for us for the trading system that I use, and that obviously is quite a can be quite a resistance zone. So I'd like to see that move above before looking at continuation to the upside.
Interesting.
Cool. So you think that we could be in store for a little bit of a reversal here? Is essentially what you're saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, more continuation to the upside if we do break through that 50-minute 800 EMA.
Sure. Cool. Were you looking at the Nasdaq when you were talking about this, or were you looking at the S&P
Yeah.
500? Okay.
Yeah,
the
correct.
NASDAQ.
Nasdaq. Yep, the Nasdaq.
Gotcha. Cool. Very good. Logan, I would love to hear your thoughts, and then we can kind of go through, whoever else has
Sure.
any thoughts on the market. Definitely want to hear those.
Yeah, and I love those thoughts on the Nasdaq. I have some pretty similar thoughts on SPY. Moving in from the end of last week, I think we all were really expecting some kind of green at the beginning of this week, just because of how oversold we have been the last couple of days, pretty much the last week and a half, really. So definitely was expecting a move to the upside, and today gave us that move. We're up around 3% right now. I can say that we're most likely going to see some more green this week, but in terms of my overall higher time frame trend, I'm definitely still bearish, just like James said he was, unless we get over that 800 EMA that he's looking at. And I think that's a pretty solid area that we could look at for resistance. On SPY, for me, that's going to be looking at around 383. If we could get a break above 383, then I think a pushback up to the 390s is very, very reasonable, and potentially all the way back up to 400. But I'm not sure there's a whole lot that can make me very, very bullish right now. I'm definitely going to be looking for a continuation to the downside. Just depends when I'll be looking for that. It could be today. Maybe we fall off a cliff tomorrow, or maybe we have, tomorrow green and the next day green, and then we decide to have a hard Friday, whatever it may be. Either way, I'm definitely looking for continuation to the downside in the next couple of days.
So you're looking for new yearly lows on SPY?
Absolutely.
In the short term.
Well, like I said, I think there could be a couple of days where we see some green because we are so oversold, and I think we still are, despite today's 3% move. Like we say this a lot, right? Bear market rallies are very common. We could see an 8% move to the upside, followed by another move to the downside. That wouldn't really surprise me. But yeah, definitely looking for lows. Whether that's tomorrow or whether that's next week, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, and I like that 383, 382 zone. I have that visual right here for you guys. Yeah, but go ahead, Clayton. That was awesome, Logan. Thanks.
I was just going to add to what Logan was saying. And again, you guys know I'm a big time bull. And always.
Clayton, we're having a little bit of issues with your mic.
Can you hear me okay?
No.
No, can't hear me okay. Okay.
You're echoey.
I'm echoing?
It just sounds like there's like a pillowcase over your mic, honestly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It's fine. We can hear you. It just sounds like, yeah, it's fine.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
No.
You're good, Clayton. I think you're good.
Just talk.
Good.
Just go ahead.
Okay, all right. Anyways, what I was saying is, you guys know I'm a bull, but the unfortunate truth to what's going on at the very moment is until we get further CPI data, we do not have a whole lot of bullish catalysts other than just some sympathy bounces that occur.
Oh, now we're losing you.
Okay, I'm gonna switch over to my phone. So give me a second.
Okay. Yep. But yeah, I mean, geez, man, this 30-minute 1 hour chart looks horrible. Every day we're gapping up and shooting 1% in some direction. It's quite crazy.
All right.
So
Now?
yeah, now you sound better. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So again, I do not foresee any positive catalysts that we could have that would provide us any kind of major breakthrough to the upside, even to retrace back to the 400 levels for SPY, until we have seen the next round of CPI data and some good additional economic data incorporated with that. But as of right now, that next CPI data is a little ways away, and I got to find the proper date. But it's going to be a couple weeks to my knowledge. And it's just that would mean that we have a much higher probability to head down towards the downside, retest our potential lows at 362, or big target I've been hearing from a lot of people is 350. So that might be a potential target as well.
I'm with it. I think that 350, 360 zone is prime time. Honestly, I was looking at that the other night here. It lines up with some macro moving averages that I have quite nicely right here. And then if we go ahead and apply this, right, this structural zone, and I believe it's also the 0.382 retracement of, hold on a sec. Yeah. So I definitely think what you said, Clay, in that 350, 360 level, there's a lot of confluence there to have some kind of bounce. So maybe we do head down lower in the short term.
That would make the
Here.
most sense. That would make the most sense. It would create the largest gap between whatever short term level we go down to, and a potential move up pending flattening and decreasing of the inflation and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, right. Cool. So yeah, if anybody else has any other thoughts, Mr. Zink, I don't think you spoke yet. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on?
All right.
You guys hear me all right?
Yep.
I thought today was pretty uneventful. I thought there was a lot of chop today, unless you hopped in calls or at the open. Not any like really big percent plays, especially for 0 days. They weren't really moving too much. I believe we do have Powell talking tomorrow on the semi-annual monetary policies, which he starts at 9:30. So we're probably going to see some pretty dramatic movement off of that, I would say, just like any other time that he talks. So it could make it a little bit of a pain in the ass to trade tomorrow.
Hey, yeah, and good thing we have a Twitter Spaces for how to trade a Powell market, right?
Yeah.
It's quite a funny topic. Cool. Yeah, did you took quite a few trades today too?
I didn't take too many. I had one.
Quite a few ideas, I should
Well,
say.
yeah, I had a lot of levels, but I had a pretty well executed trade on Amazon for puts.
Right, Amazon was bleeding quite hard. Yeah, that was
Yep.
beautiful. Yep.
Amazon's movement still, I think it's still been accelerated from the market. Coming off that stock split, like it began falling before anything else did today, and then it never really recouped back up.
Yeah.
Like SPY and Tesla did.
Yes. Would you say that it's kind of been a leading indicator for you?
I would definitely say it's been a leading indicator.
Yeah.
Last week after it split, it fell down well before the rest of the market did, and it's almost like it's ahead of the market by a day or two right now.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah. There's definitely a few equities that seems to be the case in. I believe Facebook was acting quite funky recently as well. But cool. Yeah, if anybody has any questions
I have some
regarding anything we
questions.
just talked about, cool. I want to hear them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of curious, James. So these guys in here hear a lot from us, the analysts at OBR. But I'm curious, how are you and the people at ASFX handling trading in a bearish market environment?
Sure. So, obviously, in the bear market, I actually tend to trade quite well in the bear market. Obviously, beginning of 2020, when currencies were kind of falling off, as well as obviously the Nasdaq and the indexes. I'm scalping, right? So I'm trading on the 1 minute time frame using the exponential moving averages and the TDI that I spoke about, and I've been able to put out some solid gains over the obviously 2020 when I started to become consistent, 2021, and then into this year. Currently, year to date, I'm up just under 50%. So just scalping in and out of this, out of the trades, taking the wins and just adding them up. That's basically what's worked for me, and I think that just adding those in inverted commas small wins, just it's really done done wonders for my trading.
That's awesome, and that's something that a Licknack can relate to quite heavily. You talk about the snag and bag mindset. In here, what do we call that, Austin? We call that
being a goblin.
Being a goblin, exactly.
Being a goblin.
I mean, just being, we just have the mindset, like, you don't want to be greedy for yourself. You want to be greedy against the market, right? So, like, whenever the market is showing you green, I don't see why you wouldn't, take some of it at least, right? And that's kind of the mindset I have, and I'm a big fan of locking in green. And that's why runners are so big for me, because that's how I actually get the most out of my trades is with lower risk runners or no risk runners at all. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of like grabbing my green and walking away. I'm a big fan of it.
I agree 100%.
And I think that's really what's allowed me to become consistent, is because I'm not looking for these 100% gainers every single time, or 50%, or even 20 or 15%, right? Like I'm just here to lock in the green, and then we'll look for the next trade. And I do think that that's a common mindset in this Discord altogether. I think people are pretty good with taking their profits, but it's very easy to get carried away with that like lottery mindset. So yeah, very important to like re-acknowledge the importance of locking in the green, right? Lock it in.
I know we're talking about SPY and everything, but guys, look at Bitcoin just dropped a lot.
Oh man, what can we ever do? Yeah, I mean, it's I don't think the bottom is in yet, but we're paying attention. I think that if we can talk. I'm gonna go off on a rant about cryptocurrency, but look what you did to me, Rave. Look what you did.
No.
That's your fault.
No.
Yeah.
No. Clayton, please back me up on this. Did I not call it?
What, that we were gonna drop again?
What are we talking about?
I'm talking about Bitcoin.
Well, we were talking about Bitcoin. I'm sure, James, you probably have some thoughts on cryptocurrency.
I know Rave mentioned that it would be hitting about 17K, which we almost
Very
did.
good. We already did.
We did 17 point. I thought 17.7. It dropped to 17.3.
So we were close, very close.
Yeah.
No, we passed it. We passed my mark.
Price target hit, essentially. Very
Gotcha.
good. James, do you have any thoughts on cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so
I
don't trade it as often, but I do have some I have had a couple of trades on Bitcoin recently. I have traded to the downside in the last couple of weeks, been quite some easy reads on it, obviously just with the market falling off. I do see it possibly reaching 10K in my opinion before we do maybe see a kind of correction.
I
did go down to 3K. I didn't go down to 3K in 2020 before the
4K, yeah.
Yes. 3.8.
3.8.
Yep.
I think, I think those numbers could be realistic as well. Only thing that throws me off is that my entire wave count would get demolished if we went to those prices, which would really make me upset.
Well, that would just say that we're looking at the wrong count. We'd have to reanalyze.
So far, there's no fractals that. I mean, like it looks like a perfect impulse wave.
It does look perfect,
and I do think this was a deviated correction, the thing that we had when we made all-time highs. But I mean, I think. Well, I mean, I guess we could deviate there. We could go below 13K and still maintain it. But yeah, I would really prefer to see price stay above 13.9. I would really prefer to see that. But if we don't, then we don't, right? And a lot of it depends on what the equities market is going to do, like we talked about today. So
the only problem is we don't really have like any recent support zones to kind of see where price could maybe bounce from in the short term.
Isn't that like the Max Payne trade though? Just go long at no support. That's how you print money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that how the market works, Logan?
Yes, precisely.
Precisely.
Sounds like doable.
And I know I'm joking about that, but in reality, it's like, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see something reverse on no support at all. Yeah.
If anybody has any questions for James, like I said,
or anybody,
or anybody, yeah, absolutely. But while we have James,
I have a question.
Yeah,
for James. James, do you see a correlation between SPY and Bitcoin?
That's an interesting question. So we actually had Anthony Credelli on. I don't know if you know Anthony Credelli, but he trades futures and specifically the Nasdaq. We had him on our podcast about a week ago. We do definitely see correlation between Bitcoin and mostly the three US indexes, the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, and the SPA. I definitely do see that 100%.
Makes sense. It's kind of how we all see it too.
Yeah. So I guess I have another question to that part one.
Sure.
So, okay, so I've been looking at charting and looking at the movement of Bitcoin and SPY. Now, for me personally, and this is only my own beliefs, I can see SPY going down to 330 if Bitcoin drops all the way down to its 13,000 marker. Do you think that's even possible?
So SPA, so I don't have the ETF up on here. I've got the index. So if you could just pull the chart up for me.
For on the index, that would be like 3,300.
3,300. Got you. Perfect. Thank you. So on the 1 hour chart I'm looking at, we obviously are definitely still short bias. We're pulling up to the 1 hour 200 EMA, which is for me also another price that price could reject that. If Bitcoin goes down, I definitely think it could, the SPA could definitely drop to 3,300. So Anthony actually was on the podcast saying that even though they correlate, I think it's because he was saying it's because people are they need to take money off the table, so they're taking off the risk on assets such as Bitcoin, and that's why Bitcoin's dropping so much, and obviously the indexes are just falling as well. So he was saying they do correlate, but he doesn't look to trade them in that sort of sense. But if Bitcoin drops, I could definitely still see the specifically SPA, as you mentioned, could definitely still drop to that level. As I said, on the 50-minute chart, I'd like price to start making some good market structure above the 50-minute 800 EMA, as well as those higher time frame EMAs as well.
Yeah, and to piggyback that, Rave, you have to realize I wouldn't necessarily, you could in a sense think like this, but I'm not sure if Bitcoin is in a sense a leading indicator for the stock market. You have to remember, like, the stock market is like a $50 trillion entity, right? And then if you look at these large indexes, right, they're roughly around, give or take a few trillion that size. Bitcoin is less than $1 trillion, by market cap. I actually have a wonderful visual for us to look at here. This is how small Bitcoin is compared to all these companies, right? You see Visa, Nvidia, Facebook, United Health, TSM, Johnson Johnson, Tencent, Berkshire Hathaway, Tesla, et cetera, right? So I'm not sure if the fall of in Bitcoin is only 410 billion. The entire cryptocurrency market isn't even above $1 trillion anymore. So I'm not sure how much the performance of cryptocurrency is going to depict the future performance of the stock market. It could give us an insight, but I think people underestimate how large the stock market is and how small cryptocurrency is, right? That's why I'm so bullish on cryptocurrencies, not necessarily because it is what it is, I guess, to a certain extent, but I think it's just so massively undervalued to the amount of market capitalization it will one day accumulate, right? It's very, very small. Bitcoin is fairly small.
I think as you're saying there, probably the Bitcoin's probably moving with the indexes, right? Because of that.
I think that they're following general sentiment, like, right, if Bitcoin's bearish, then the stock market's going to be bearish, even though that's not always been a thing. But for the most part, right, people kind of have like the Nasdaq pack in Bitcoin in this. Bitcoin's like a tech stock right now, right? Essentially, unfortunately. And that might change if we start to go to lower prices. And the one thought I had regarding that was, like, we were talking today in the Twitter Spaces. If the equities market sees a 50% correction, like we did in 2000 or 08, is Bitcoin going to actually go to these ridiculously low levels again, or are we going to see demand pop up in Bitcoin at these ridiculously low levels while stocks still get hit, right? Like, are people just going to let like a $5,000 Bitcoin fly by if that were to happen, if things are still getting crushed, right? I'm not sure. There might be demand that shows up and they could decouple. I don't know, but right now Bitcoin's a tech stock. I guess they're following each other. Sentiment for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a long, drawn-out answer. How about that?
I have another question if nobody else does.
Geez, I'm about to start hitting you with questions. I'm
I
ready.
don't know,
Can
discussion
I use
topic,
my
yeah.
I just closed my Apple calls for break even. I knew it wasn't going to be huge, but I saw Austin took
The
like a
Apple.
-7. But I'm just like, yo, I believe that I'm at
Oh
least
my
going to get
God.
1%, and I ended with 1%. So
The price action was so dog shit,
Green
bro.
is green,
we were
man.
about to break out, and then it just did this ugly consolidation, and I just yeah, not a
Oh,
fan. Hey, we did pretty good today though. 2 for 3. What's up?
big end of day dump right now.
Really? Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
I had a little discussion topic. Or
All right, yeah, just
or
have Logan
question,
can
but-
answer his question, and then we'll go to
Yeah,
yours,
go for
Mr.
it.
Singh. What's up? What's
Well,
up, Logan?
what's your discussion topic, Mr. Zink?
It was on Shopify coming
Okay.
up.
Okay, yeah, I want to ask mine first then. So, James, a lot of us in here trade a more discretionary manner. And in that, I mean we're using a lot of trend lines, a lot of Fibonacci, a lot of support and resistance. But you guys over at ASFX are very mechanical. So I was hoping you could like kind of not necessarily tell us how you trade, but kind of tell us the pros that you find from trading a more mechanical system. It's more black and white, right?
Yeah, that is the case, but I still find that I do trade quite discretionary within the systems. So obviously the systems that I got taught, I do find that I am using it when I'm scalping on the 1 minute in my own way, kind of. So you could call it that they're a little bit discretionary, but within a system. But as you said, it is more black and white. So I'm scalping on the 1 minute using the 50-minute chart for my bias, and then I'm basically choosing one side of the market that I'm going to scalp in. So for today, I had a nice trade on the Dow Jones to the upside, US 30. I had that intraday long bias, and I'm just scalping on the 1 minute in that intraday long bias. So yeah, as I said, I got rules set in place and that, but I'm using the systems more in my own way. Yeah.
Do you feel like the indicators that you use would be valuable to like any trader?
So I know that you guys are looking at. I don't know too much about how you guys are trading options and that. Never actually done that. So for the guys that don't know, I'm out in South Africa. So I know that the indicator, the TDI indicator, with obviously stocks can gap in that. I know that obviously that would cause the indicator to lag. So that indicator might not be too valuable. Maybe over the high time frame, like such as the daily or the 4 hour, that could be quite helpful where the gaps aren't shown or price isn't reacting to it as much. But the EMA is something that traders should definitely look at. The exponential moving averages, as I said, the ATMA, the 21, and the 50 specifically. The 50 I like for my 1 minute entries. So when price bounces off the 1 minute 50 EMA, I am looking to take my entries in that 50-minute bias, intraday bias.
Cool. Very, very nice. Yeah, we actually do recommend the same EMAs that you guys use.
Sure.
All right, Mr. Zink.
Cool.
Take it
Yeah.
away.
So, yeah, Mr. Zink, let's hear the Shopify thoughts.
So my discussion topic for it was Shopify right now is trading about 328. Beginning of the year, we were all the way up at 1,700. Probably because of all those people getting into e-commerce for COVID. What impacts do you guys think it's going to have that a stock that's trading at a share price of 328 right now is next week going to be $30 to $40 a share?
I want to say I think it's going to crush the stock price even more. I just do not believe that Shopify, and this is why I didn't purchase Amazon long. Yeah, that's why Amazon's not a part of my individual security list. Oh, sorry, market's closed. So the biggest issue here is I don't believe that under any circumstance Shopify is ever going to see the amount of e-commerce business and profit that they did when during COVID, which is why
kind of
their
like
price has decreased so significantly, which is why they saw so much damage in regards to their stock price. I mean, the company's down 70+%. That's atrocious. So I think them splitting as much as they're splitting is only going to hurt them. And I haven't said that about any of the companies.
It's down 81.
It's going to be down a lot more than that once they split.
Well, there also is a lot of equities that are down quite considerably. That
It's-
are around those 70.
No,
It's almost
I'm aware, but we're talking about Shopify, baby. This is what I'm referring to. Them specifically, their company fundamentals or financials. That's what I'm bringing up.
kind of the same thing for Netflix, but I don't understand why Shopify would be doing a 10-to-1 split at this price.
Because they're desperate. It's the only thing I could think of.
Maybe they're trying to get more retail investors.
That's
Right.
that's where you
They're
fit in
desperate.
with the rest of the hypergrowth tech stocks, Fastly and Palantir, and all those guys. They
What if they're
wanna
just like Google did it? I want to do it.
they wanna get into that league.
Yeah, I don't own any shop. Never have, never will. Sorry, Birdie. Oh wait, is Birdie bearish on shop or is he bullish? I
I
don't know.
think it's bearish.
I want the bitch to
I don't even
delist.
know.
He wants
You want it to
die.
delist.
Yep.
I think
Oh,
this split is going to put it well on its way.
Great. I hope it does. I have 400 shares. Just let it delist.
Yeah. Is there any earnings today?
None. No
None.
significant earnings. I think today we have. I looked at it earlier. Shoot,
We have
Yeah,
FedEx this week.
it's one company.
We do?
There's one company today. FedEx is Thursday after hours.
Oh, okay. This hasn't been updated. Gotcha. Yeah. Got to get that updated ASAP. All right, guys. Well, yeah. I mean, that's really all I got. Market is now closed. Again, if there's any other things that we'd want to talk about, I'm more than happy to answer those things. You know, we still have James in here, who I'm sure would be willing, and happy to answer any questions you guys have. But feel free to kind of use your mic and ask away. And if not,
We
have a great evening, right?
Somebody asked for James' opinions on metals.
On metals.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's meaning like gold and silver.
Yeah, gold and silver. Yeah. Let me pull up my chart here. Yeah, so well, just from recent market, while I pull up my chart here on gold or silver, the recent market bias, obviously with the DXY, the dollar index being quite strong.
Oop, we might have lost you.
I can hear him.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear James fine.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah, obviously, while I pull up my charts here, just the dollar index has been quite strong the last since the beginning of the year. So obviously, with gold being correlating against the United States dollar, the gold has been coming down quite a lot. But I know that it was when the Russia-Ukraine war started out, it did go to almost $2,000. So I'm pulling up the chart here now. So gold's currently sitting at 1830. So yeah, obviously today it looks quite short on the 50-minute time frame. Today I would have been short bias on it. Came down quite nicely. So on the high time frames, you are still in a more recent downtrend. So I definitely still see that on the 1 hour and the 4 hour chart, we could definitely see some movement back down to the 1800 level. So
James, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Austin. It's XAU USD with no slash in the middle.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at gold because this is what we trade.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep. I look at gold.
Yeah, so I definitely see in the short term right now we are definitely looking more short bias. I'll be more short bias as we speak right now. Silver is currently sitting at silver and gold move pretty similar together, obviously because of the DXY as I mentioned. So I would also be pretty short term focus on short term intraday shorts on silver too.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah. They're pretty much the same exact chart. I was wondering what the difference would be on the gold spot compared to the
It's the same chart I got up.
same exact. Yep.
Yep.
Very good.
What's DXY
Yeah,
doing?
we've been speculating about people have been talking about like that silver squeeze forever now. That's kind of been a running joke with me and Logan. But yeah, precious metals is interesting. We'll see how gold performs if the economy really does take a dump. Should be interesting.
Dollar looks like it's ready to squeeze. Go look at the DXY.
Yeah, DXY.
4 hour chart.
Yep.
The daily looks good. Yeah, I mean, I was just I went on to this chart on the weekly. The weekly looks insane.
Yeah, the dollar index has just been really, really strong. I mean, GU's down too. So for the guys that trade currencies as well, pound dollar's been down at like COVID lows as well. So yeah, down at like it was down at like 1.2 the 1.2 area.
Yeah, any USD crosspair has been getting hit very hard.
What's
Very
your
much
opinion
so.
on what's your opinion on the ruble making big moves
Yeah.
against the dollar?
I saw they actually stopped trade. They stopped. You couldn't actually trade the ruble. I think you remember when the war broke out. I think it actually the dollar to the ruble just I think it just skyrocketed like 56% in one day, and their stock market dropped like 56%. Imagine one day the Nasdaq just dropping 56%. So it was quite hectic. And now it's like rebounding, but that's expected with the
Also,
with
remove
the
the L.
war.
What is the ruble? What's the ticker for it?
Remove the L. It's just RUB.
Yeah.
Oh, just
Yep.
RUB.
Yep.
RUB USD.
Um,
There it is. Yes.
yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's it there.
Yeah, I'm not a forex guy. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Geez, I don't know any. I don't know the stocks that you. Well, I know the stocks, but I don't know what too much about that stuff. So yeah, it's cool to see.
Yeah, the thing about the ruble is like even forex traders don't pay attention to it because it's not a major
Yeah,
pair.
'cause it's an exotic pair, correct? Yeah. So I'm really only trading pound dollar, pound yen. The more liquidity, spreads are good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's something like trading like something like a GameStop for you guys compared to Tesla.
Right.
That's an
right,
awesome
right.
comparison.
Compared it
uh,
to GameStop.
You know anybody who did take advantage of this move?
I did see some on Twitter, but as I said, they stopped trading like after when it took that hit in one day when it dropped like 56%, devalued.
Yeah, it was the best time to buy, man.
Yeah, yeah, or go bankrupt.
Right. Yeah, one or the other.
Yep.
You're either homeless or you got a Lambo. No in between.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive moves here. I wonder how this trend will continue. I was pretty impressed that we broke this. What was this? I mean, it's like a multi-year downtrend that we've been holding since 2015. Can't believe it broke out of that. And you can see it just went crazy.
War money is good, bro.
I guess so.
Do you think the dollar index has been strengthening as a factor because Bitcoin's been dropping? Do you think the government will try and stop all these cryptocurrencies because they want to keep the fiat and be in control of the monetary system?
Whoa.
Yeah,
What
well,
an
they're going to
idea.
introduce the digital dollar.
Yeah.
US, whatever they're called.
Bitcoin.
What are they called, Logan? I'm having a brain
CBDCs.
fart. CBDCs, yeah, they're gonna introduce those,
I've
and
never
that's
heard
really
that
what they're
theory,
gonna.
though, that James just said. That was really interesting. That this was like a manufactured thing to drive crypto prices down. How crazy would that be?
Well, I wouldn't say that they're doing too good of a job because this is not out of the normal. Bitcoin has had many drops of this size.
You're right.
So I don't get if it dropped 99% like Clayton was calling for,
Can you
then I would
overlay
be
the DXY with that chart?
What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, there you go.
I was just gonna say, like, I think why people are so concerned now with Bitcoin dropping so much is, it's kind of like a bigger difference if it's dropping from 3,000 to say $1,000 per Bitcoin, but now it's like the money's bigger. It's gone from 69K or 68K, whatever the all-time highs, to down to like 20K now. So it looks like a bigger drop than it actually is.
Yeah, it's actually usually drops over 80%. But you can see here, it's actually pretty interesting. Anytime the dollar hits a low, it's like a peak for Bitcoin.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Right. And then anytime we spike, except for right here, this was interesting. Here the dollar was up, but Bitcoin still spiked.
Back in 2013, yeah.
And what we can also see from the dollar is that anytime it's up tremendously, it signals buying opportunities for the market.
Sure.
Right. So yeah, every time the dollar is up like this, it's
You should tweet
historically been a pretty good time to buy.
That's a good tweet right there, bro.
Yeah, I mean you could overlay this with anything. So like let's go overlay DXY with SPX, right?
I
Let's go
know-
over here.
I
Yep,
know the
go ahead.
times were different, but I'm curious to see how long it took the stock market to reach
a $1 trillion market cap in comparison to Bitcoin. Now I know there's a lot of variables that are involved, and there's a lot more
Way
technology.
quicker for Bitcoin.
Right. So that's an interesting.
Just because of inflation, though.
Right. Well, I mean, the inflation has occurred. I mean, since Bitcoin's creation, inflation has occurred massively, in the last year or two, right? But Bitcoin's been around since '09. So just something to consider. Again, just to bring in the growth proposal of cryptocurrency. And again, I'm not the biggest crypto guy in the world, but if you look at how quickly the crypto market got to right under $1 trillion market cap versus how quickly the stock market did, again, very different times, different technology, different things were available. It's quite unbelievable.
I think the comparison to make would be like, how quick did Apple reach a $1 trillion market cap compared to Bitcoin? That would be interesting.
Right. I'm with that.
Here's DXY overlaid on SPX. So, yeah, I mean, seems like the market's like delayed.
Yeah.
I guess. Very, very interesting.
Also,
not too many correlations. What's up?
Another quick point, we know that the institutions and the banks and everybody, they've been going at it in the pre-market and after hours, mostly the pre-market. So tomorrow, prior to the Fed, just be careful. We could see a lot of what we did today given back in pre-market tomorrow, prior to the Fed discussion that we're going to be having on I think it was monetary policy. I put it in the Investors Lounge chat earlier. So if the big guys sell everything off in pre-market tomorrow morning, don't be surprised.
I will not be surprised.
Usually after these like super big green days, we have those big red days, especially since Jerome's talking at like 9:30 a.m. EST. So I'm expecting probably sell off before then, and then depending on what he says, probably no red day tomorrow. I'm not. Yeah.
Honestly, I think you should just flip a coin, because that's you're gonna have the probabilities are exactly that 50%.
Be ready for all the above, up, down, sideways, or whatever comes.
I mean, look at like I was just saying, look at this market. This is on an hourly time frame. Like, this is disgusting. This is filthy. Like, we had this nasty consolidation all up here for the beginning of June. Then we just gap down we gap somewhere every single day now. It's disgusting. Atrocious. There's no clean lines anywhere.
While we do that, James is sitting there in the London session making money off those moves.
Yeah, I like trading. Yeah, I like trading the indices during the London pre-market.
Yeah. I can't say the same for myself. That's for sure. But cool. James, I appreciate you stopping by today. I think it was super fun having you here and your opinion. Obviously new voices in here are super beneficial to have, and I think everybody enjoyed it. So definitely want to have you back again. That was pretty much the market recap. We are approaching 4:15 here, so definitely want to start wrapping it up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thanks for having me, guys. It's 10 o'clock here, my time. So I'm on the opposite end of the world.
Yep.
Thanks again, James. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Appreciate it.
Sir.
Cheers.
Peace.
See you guys. Catch you all tomorrow.
Take it easy, folks.